it has not launched yet. We're still waiting for 10 seconds. And there we go. Here we go, boys. We are in. So welcome everyone to the first game in this best of 5 series in the Group 2 Round 1 stages of the Australian Open. Let's turn off the fog of war and let's see what we have here. And Pyro wasn't quite correct in the chat. It is not rivers, but it is in fact a water map. Let's have a quick look at what it is. And we have blind random. Of course we have blind random. Fantastic. So up here toward the north of the map, I'm going to turn team colors on because orange I never really like to try and deal with. I'm not sure if it's continental or coastal, but it looked like coastal to kick us off. And what we have here toward the northeast of the map, I guess you could say, is we have Flatch, the Australian competitor in this first match, off to an interesting start, deciding not to finish building one of his houses. Could be a new strategy, could be a new meta. We're going to have to wait and see how that one pans out for him as the game progresses. But we have him toward the north of the map, playing in the blue as the Aztecs. His opponent today, down to the south of the map, playing in the red trunks, is none other than SirLaurenceNZ, and as his name suggests, he is from New Zealand. Although he has specified many times that he is half Canadian. Let me turn the chat off because I'm such a pro caster, and he has specified many times that he is half Canadian. Playing today in his New Zealand colours, though, always interesting to see. So we do have a Trans-Tasman battle, Australia versus New Zealand. And here we go, Pyro's still chucking stuff out in the chat. That's fantastic to see. Alright, so what do we have? We have Aztecs on what looks to be coastal. It's going to be quite interesting. I don't know whether... I mean, Aztecs, pretty weak water civilization, to be honest. Their economy does get them off to quite a nice start in the early game, but as the game progresses, their water falls off. And water control, not going to be terribly important in terms of taking control of any important areas of the map for this sort of game style. But it is going to be important, especially for Flatch, because you can see up here toward the very northern corner, he has a metric shite ton of lovely, nutritious, delicious deep sea fish, which is really going to provide a nice supplement and boost to his economy. But we'll go ahead and look at the maps themselves. Looking at Fletcher's map, he does have a pretty sizable chunk of woodline here out to the western flank of his map. A little bit exposed. Potentially from towers or archers sitting in behind this wood line means that they're going to be able to quite easily force Fletch off his main wood there. But he does have some secondary lumber more toward the back of his base, taking into account where Lawrence is on the map. It seems that he's found most, if not all, of his sheep. In fact, he has found all of his sheep, so he's done that really well. Berry's out on the front and sitting on a hill. A little bit nasty for him, especially since it's joined by pretty much every other mineral resource that this dude could want. He's got his second and main gold out on the front of his base as well as his 2 stones. A little bit unfortunate for him, and it just shows that this is going to be a really important area of the map for him to hold down. We've already mentioned the fishing for him is going to be fantastic. If he does decide to go ahead and chuck up a dock in this area, he's going to be in a really nice position in terms of his food. Going down to the other end of the map, and let's have a look at Sir Lawrence's, and the first thing I noticed for him is he is quite a simple wall-off. He's got some really nice chunky wood lines out toward the front of his base. He does have a little bit of trappage going on there with his villagers, but sorting that out like the professional that he is. His wood line is on the front though, again pretty susceptible to harass any towers and or archers chucking in here. Going to be able to force Sir Lawrence away from there quite easily. Main gold out on the front, just like his counterpart. Up in the north of the map, and Lawrence does actually have quite a few other wood patches that he can relocate to should this one get pressured. Where are his berries? His berries at the back of the map, not so important for him. Not so bad for him, rather, but the big advantage we saw in the spectator overlay just now, that Fletch is chucking a dock up in the first... He's chucking a dock up toward the north of his map. Not the best location for him. He does have access to one deep fish here and some shorefish around, but a more optimal location would have been here. And if we check his scouting, he should have potentially realized that, yeah, this is always going to be a little bit of a crappy dock. Just based on the fact that he can see the peninsula here jutting out into the water, and the edge of the map is right here, so there was never going to be a lot of deep fish there for him to take, and he should have been able to see that this is a really nice position for him to take fish from. Lawrence also chucking up a dock, and again in a crappy position, not really understanding what the logic here is between these two players and their dock positions. Lawrence again, Eagle Scouts have fantastic line of sight, and it could be a bit of layman coming in here as well. Lawrence is going to have to bring a villager over here, or have to G the FB, but he's bringing another villager over and his dock is up. no problems at all. He does have access to some deep fish here, but it's not a very optimal dock. But it's okay because neither is Flatch's in that respect anyway. Lawrence already going for these really, really easy wall-offs that I hadn't actually mentioned just yet. The fact of the matter is that he does have quite substantial wood lines arching across the front of his base, so he can do quite a simplistic wall off to keep his economy nice and safe, although this villager here is going to be in danger of getting picked off. Now, amazingly, normally with these sorts of maps, we do see Aztecs going for a drush, but Lawrence clicking up to the feudal age now on 23 villages, which is 24 population, and continuing to try and to try and solidify his application for the SY team, I think, here by building just a crap ton of walls. It does keep his main gold safe out on the front of his base, which was always going to be an issue for him. Secondary gold out here as well, quite a ways away, and his tertiary gold here is also being locked down nice and safe by these walls here. So it's going to be interesting to see what Lawrence does. Maybe he's going to go straight into archers, although he hasn't moved out to gold yet. Maybe he is planning to go for a grush, seeing as though he sees that water is pretty important. But if that was the case, we would not have seen a mill for an effective grush build, and we would have seen more villages being transitioned over to gold now, and a lot more villages. I suppose there are quite a few villages on wood here, but it doesn't look like Lawrence is giving us any indication as to what he is actually going to do. I would say naively a grush. We've got a forward villager going out and building more walls. Again, SY. Eat your friggin' hearts out. But over toward the north of the map, we do have Flatch deciding that he's going to be playing the feudal age game as well. 4 fishing ships out for him, and he's up to the feudal age now on much more population than Lawrence was. As I say that, Lawrence advances to the feudal age. Let's see what he's doing. We don't see any galleys coming out. Pyrosaurus Rex, thank you very much for the host. I'm glad that your saltiness and bitterness has not kept you from hosting me in this great tournament. So what do we have Lawrence actually doing apart from just walling the crap out of his base and not looking like he wants to go for any sort of army? Getting double bid axe, fair enough, a very important upgrade. Getting attacked by woo woo woo. Can we see some T90 woos in the chat? I can't see anything coming in from Lawrence. Maybe he's just going. It looks like he's going to be playing a very passive, a very defensive game, whereas his counterpart Flatch throwing up a barracks outside the front of his base, moving 3 villages over to gold, potentially indicative of an archer flush, or maybe even a fast castle, seeing as though he has gone up on quite a high population, and he does have access to some better fish. But here we go, up to the feudal age now. Let's see what Flatch is going to do. Well, first he's going to put down a house because he's housed. Makes a heck of a lot of sense. A little bit sloppy from him, but there you have it. We have a blacksmith coming up for him as well. Do we see any market and or archery range? Well, we have 2 villagers going over here to build what looks to be, I'm going to say, a market, an archery range. Well, that has just shown me that I don't know this game at all. But we have an archery range. It looks like he's just going to be going straight for a fast castle into archers. Lawrence does have his Eagle Scout and amongst his base, so he is going to be able to scout this out if he so chooses. And it looks like with the help of the Aztec economy and these incredibly inefficient, or not inefficient, but incredibly slow fishing ships up here to the north of the map for Flatch, he's going to be able to do this fast castle quite effectively indeed, whereas his opponent Lawrence, I still don't know what on earth this guy is doing. Well, he's gone for a sort of pseudo grush. I don't really know. He said he was practicing his grush builds before the match, but it doesn't look like he's quite perfected it yet, as this is a very late grush, or maybe this is just to, stick his toes in the water and see what's going on out in the big bad world. He is going to be able to get around here and do some damage to Flatch's naval economy, I guess you could say, seeing as though Flatch has absolutely no sort of defense coming out of his dock at the moment, and it doesn't look like anything else is going to be done for that. Oh, he's getting a galley out, that's fine. A galley every now and again should be fine to protect the rest of the remainder of his fishing ships, since he does have the defender's advantage. But in the meantime, Flatch pumping out a few archers here. No fletching having been done on them. His economy is looking, it's looking okay. Idle villager there already taken care of. Has lost 1 fishing ship. Going to be able to get out a galley. Quick smart to be able to try and defend against these galleys coming over from Lawrence. Lawrence may be thinking he's in a pretty good position here. The scores would indicate to him that he is indeed in a good position. But the fact of the matter is that he is going for army, and he hasn't used all of his resources in clicking up to the castle age like Flatch has. And Flatch is going to be in the castle age in just a matter of moments, and it'll be interesting to see what he goes for. Well, he's going to be going for crossbows, which is more or less what you'd expect to see from the Aztecs in the castle age, but is normally normally preceded by a drush. That's on Arabia, of course, and we can see crossbowmen coming in now as well. Doesn't quite have the resources for Bodkin Arrow as of yet, and I don't see any bowsaw coming in either. So it will be interesting to see how this one plays out. Lawrence obviously stuck in an age behind. It's going to give Flatch a really, really nice window of opportunity to push out and try and do some damage against Lawrence. And Lawrence, recognizing the situation, deciding to tower up his main gold back at home and get up a market, looking like he wants to try and buy his way up to the Castle Age. He does have a little bit of floating gold. He's seeded a lot of farms, so with the Aztec economy, he's going to be there in no short time at all. And of course, Flatch didn't even have fletching, so Bodkin Arrow was not going to be on the cards at all, in which case he definitely had the resources for it. Flatch coming forward with his crossbows, his meager support of crossbows, and building a forward siege workshop, and this is going to be quite nice for him. He's going to be able to start applying pressure to his opponent, who is still in the feudal age. Thank you very much for the follow, Rilo, as well.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Very professional. You can enjoy twerking Gohan, but as I was saying before, this is going to be a really, really nice aggressive push from Flatch as he gets out a Mangonel, I imagine, straight away. Maybe not a Mangonel, but he's going for 3 archery ranges. No extra TCs up at home. He's sinking a lot of resources into this forward aggression. He's going to be going for 3 TCs. Still no Bodkin Arrow coming in either. The Aztec economy hopefully going to be kicking into overdrive for him and being able to give him some sort of a backup if this does fail. Lawrence, on the other hand, buying a bit of stone. Obviously, he did put this defensive watchtower up at the front of his base, so he's going to be looking for a more economical approach once he does finally get up to the Castle Age, putting down an extra couple of town centres, and he should be good in terms of that. But this is where it really counts. Fletcher's going to have to push in now, and he's going to have to do the damage. He's going to have to be able to make the damage as a Mangonel comes out. And let's see what sort of harass and what sort of damage he can do to his opponent. Obviously, this is kind of bad from Flatch. Getting his Eagle Scout trapped there. Scouting information as to what Lawrence is doing is quite minimalistic at this point in time. But here we go, the Mangonel now coming in on the watchtower. Lawrence aware to it, and where is Fletch's villager? There are the villagers there. Okay, so the villager's going to come over here and going to be able to repair this Mangonel should the need arise. Now, Fletch, in my opinion, would have been better not to attack front on or head on in this place here, in this area of Lawrence's economy where he is nice and safe, but rather to try and punch a hole in this wall and walk around here and see what harassment he can do to his to Lawrence's wood economy. It makes total sense that Flatch does want to try and cripple the gold economy and the gold income of Lawrence, but at the same time it's going to make it all the more difficult now that there are watchtowers here to defend. Although in saying that, a second Mangonel coming over, some repairs coming in on the watchtower, but 2 Mangonels firing upon it. Their watchtower is going to go down in a matter of moments, and Flatch all of a sudden in a really, really nice position. with this watchtower going down, Lawrence has been forced off gold, making them go to farmers, making them go to another watchtower. He's bought the 100 stone Lawrence has just in the feudal age. Now as he advances to the castle age, he's still not going to have the stone to be able to put down another town centre, so that stone... Please turn the anaconda noise down. No, anaconda must be kept loud. We need to have the anaconda. And Lawrence now putting up an archery range as well. I don't want to say too little too late, but he's going for another barracks as well. That's going to be quite difficult for him. Has he moved to his secondary gold? No, he has not. Barracks is coming down, meaning he wants to be able to try and defend against the Mangonels with either some Mangonels from the siege workshop of his own, or also getting out some Eagle Warriors. But of course, Eagle Warriors costing gold. He's been zoned off his gold at the front of his base. He hasn't gone to move out to the other gold there, but he has decided to put a town centre out on one of his secondary golds. So he should be in an okay spot, so long as he can at least defend from this push here. He needs to chuck down a house or like 20 at the moment, because he's been housed for a crap ton of time, and this is only going to make it all the more difficult for him to try and defend against this push coming in from Flatch. Flatch, meanwhile, back at home, up on 2 town centres, so his economy is going to start pulling ahead just a little bit, as he is, well, I suppose they're both on the same amount of town centres, but the archery range being thrown up for Lawrence is now just going to get taken down straight away. But Flatch is letting his Mangonels die, and this is blasphemy. This is a sin. This is not what you want to see. You don't want to see your Mangonels unprotected, but in saying that, Flatch is on point. Still no Bodkin Arrow Man-at-Arms coming in, saying that he wants to try and get some counters going on to these Eagle Warriors. But the thing is, in the Castle Age, the Eagle Warriors really not that strong. Very, very susceptible rather to to crossbows, especially when the crossbows have +2 attack. We saw just before that these Eagle Warriors got taken down pretty bloody quick smart from the crossbows of Flatch. But here we go, Lawrence getting a nice couple of mangonel shots, and he's able to defend for the time being. And this could be huge. Oh, he's gone for the attack round with the crossbows were all bunched up, and he hasn't managed to pull any real big shots off there at all, and he retreats just a little bit out of Lawrence's base. And as we can see, the villager count now as well, slightly in the head for Flatch, which tells me that obviously his economy is going to start pulling ahead just a little bit. Should be just a little bit stronger, especially since all of his fish have been wiped out. But we can see now that the match has really progressed into the land. I mean, Lawrence sure he's got some galleys around here, and I guess if he was paying any more attention, he might be thinking, hey, a good idea. There we go. He's getting some fishing ships out now as well. You don't have to listen to a pyro, mate. That's fine. He's getting some fishing ships out now as well, recognizing that he does have water control. He's building another dock further around here as well, so that's going to supplement his food eco really, really nicely. Flatch also getting a few man-at-arms, few Eagle Warriors out. No upgrades except +1 having been done on them as well. Lawrence with almost unupgraded skirms, and Flatch could be denying this town centre down here to the south of Lawrence's base as he puts it up on his extra gold. But unfortunately he's attacking the town centre itself and not the villagers building it. Lawrence aware to it, bringing over the mangonel, and this could be a huge shot. Is Flatch paying attention? He's oh my goodness! No, he's paying attention. Lawrence trying to be a wee bit tricky there with the attack ground. Probably not the best thing that he could have done, but he's getting some nice subtle harassment is Flatch in the wood line of Sir Lawrence, as Lawrence just batters and beats that Eagle Warrior down to a crisp. How many town centres do we have for our Australian player? Still up on 2 TC, so now the villager count, as we can see, starting to pull ahead a little bit for Sir Lawrence, owing to the fact that he does have 3 town centres up over his opponents too. We see a watchtower coming up on this wood line, potentially a little bit unnecessary, seeing as though he does have control over the front portion of Sir Lawrence's base, but I guess both of Lawrence's stones are out on the front, and if Flatch loses the foothold in Lawrence's base here, this is going to provide at least a little bit more reassurance that Flatch is going to have some sort of a presence in at this area of Lawrence's base. But for the time being, it just seems like Lawrence is holding on. He's holding on. He's going to get a nice mangonel shot here. Oh my goodness, 2 HP. We see the dance of the mangonels. This is an interesting decision from Flatch, getting in there, trying to snipe this mangonel. It will go down pretty quickly. We do see that the Eagle Warrior is at least able to stand up to a bit of town centre fire, and that mangonel goes down pretty quick smart. What I'd like to see from Flatch here is not to try and just beat his way through this area here, maybe start trying to get some harassment up here, or just spreading out his units and seeing what else he can scout from his opponent. Having a quick look back at Flatch's economy, is starting to fall pretty bloody idle, but a forward castle coming in from him now as well. I didn't actually notice that he was that bloody heavy on stone, but turns out he is that bloody heavy on stone, and a forward castle coming up, and this is going to be nice for Flatch. It is going to deny this front area of Sir Lawrence's economy even more solidly, and Lawrence getting some really, really nice trades with his mangonels here. A 1 for 2 trade for him, but you can see these Eagle Warriors, once the +2 has come in for these crossbows, the Eagle Warriors here from Sir Lawrence just absolutely get melted away, and Lawrence getting in. He's still doing these attack rounds, and it's fair enough, but he's not really paying off too well with them at all in terms of trying to get the big shots on these crossbows. And for now, Flatch is in a really, really demanding position, at least in terms of military. He has 4 times the amount of military as his counterpart, whereas Lawrence is going for a bit more of an economical approach. And sure, he's going to lose this area of his economy, but he is still going to have 2 other town centres with which he can pump out villages. So hopefully this, for Lawrence's villager lead should hopefully just still be kept the same, seeing as though Flatch is not up on 2 extra town centre yet at all. But here we go, mangonels just continually coming out for Lawrence, and it's fair enough that he wants to get these mangonels out, but he has to get something else to deal with, the Eagle Warriors, or at least these crossbows, and he needs to take more efficient trades, maybe an extra siege workshop back here, getting up double the amount of mangonels would be put him in a really, really nice defensible position. And saying that, he has managed to snipe off these building villages of Flatch, and he is throwing up a castle himself in a very interesting area of his economy. I maybe would have preferred him to put it here, but I suppose he does have crossbows from his enemy picking the way slowly into Sir Lawrence's base, and for the time being, Lawrence is doing okay. You know, he's hanging on in there. He's selling a bit of wood. He's getting bodkin arrow now as well. I still don't see absolutely any military, at least not in the form of anything but a couple of mangonels every now and again. Mangonel coming out, really, really nice trade for him. The castle being rushed up by Flatch, and that's going to go up pretty bloody easily, in my opinion. Oh, and saying that's a nice shot, but it looks like this castle is still going to go up, I would say. Is it going to go up? Come on, Flatch. There we go. It's going to go up. And that mangonel is GG, as is this area or this portion of Sir Lawrence's economy. Once again, Lawrence having thrown up his castle in the back of his base. It's going to keep... It's going to stall. That's what it's going to do. It's going to stall Flatch's progress into this area of his economy, whereas this area here is still pretty susceptible to raids. All Flatch has to do is just walk his crossbows up and around this way, and he's going to be able to get a lot of harassment on these gold villages from Sir Lawrence. So the village count here, 54 to 61. Again, Lawrence's 3 TCs, still working overtime to be able to put him in a nice position. And a second castle coming up from Flatch. This is absolutely fantastic, and Lawrence is just abusing the crap out of the market. Getting up to the Imperial Age, obviously an imbalanced economy, is the staple of every low-rated Age of Empires player's game book. And Flatch almost doing another staple of a low-rated player's game book by putting another castle up in the exact location, or almost the exact same location as the initial castle. It's a little bit risky, especially with Lawrence up to the Imperial Age now, seeing as though Lawrence is going to be the first one to get Trebs out, and that's so important. If you have castles in your face and you have castles at the entranceway to your economy, you want to be able to get to the Imperial Age first, and you want to be able to get the Trebs out and start outmassing your opponent in Trebs. And Lawrence, having clicked up to the Imperial Age, albeit with now the same amount of villages, although it wasn't before, is going to put himself in a really nice position to defend against this. Not to mention he does have a crap ton of fishing ships having now been created, and gathering all the fish that Flatch really should have made it his prerogative to get at the beginning of the game. But it's going to be interesting to see how much more effective or how much more damage Flatch can actually do. We see stone walls coming up for Sir Lawrence here as well. There is still a hole in this wall, but there is a castle defending it, so Lawrence's economy is going to be safe. The crossbows from Flatch not going to be wanting to get back there in any time soon at all. And Lawrence actually patching the hole now too, so it doesn't really matter. But this is what I was saying, all Flatch has to do, just set his crossbows here just outside of the range of this TC, and maybe bring a few round here as well, spread his units out, and just harass Lawrence's economy from all areas. Are we going to see a huge shot? No, we're not, because Lawrence unfortunately wasn't paying attention as his siege workshop goes down. Does Lawrence have another siege workshop up? No, he does not. He has a couple of villages queued up inside this castle, nice and safe. They're going to be fine, as he throws up an extra couple of barracks in the back of his base. Clearly, as scale mail armor comes in, he's going to be wanting to go for the Eagle Warriors as well. And of course, Eagle Warriors in the Imperial Age, very, very tanky, very, very strong against crossbow or against any sort of arrow fire. Unfortunately, Lawrence doesn't really have the gold economy at the moment to support any sort of mass Eagle Warrior production. And I'm tempted to say, or I'm curious how well this is actually going to go for Lawrence. Sure, he's got the advantage. He has sunk quite a few resources into trebuchets, but with a couple of mangonels firing upon the trebs, I don't know how well that's really going to last with it for him. As we see chainmail armor coming in now as well. Now, I did see Flatch go up on an extra town center, so he's up on 4 TCs, and he's also up to the Imperial Age now as well. And in my opinion, he's in a much better position. Sure, his food eco is not going to be supplemented as well as Lawrence's, considering he has, a metric shit ton of fishing ships here. But he is still going to be in an okay position in terms of safety. His economy is nice and safe right now. Obviously, having kept Lawrence all locked and cooped up inside of his base means that he is free to do whatever the heck he wants back at home. And we can see now that Lawrence does have the trebs out, but you know, it's all well and good having the trebs, mate, but if you're not going to do anything with them, you may as well not have spent the 200 wood and 200 gold on them. And where the hell is Lawrence firing? What the hell? I got nothing. There we go. Okay, now the Treb decides to actually fire at the right friggin' place. I don't know what the hell that was about. But, you know, maybe Lawrence is showing us a new meta. Maybe he didn't like the look of that tree. Maybe he thinks, screw it, I want to give Flatch a bit of an opportunity to get up to the Imperial Age so we can have a fair Treb war. I don't know what the hell that was about, but now Lawrence is actually out of range of these castles, which is really, really detrimental for him, as Flatch decides to turn his attention over to another area of Lawrence's economy, where all Lawrence has is a town centre, not noticing that he's getting attacked at all, but he has a town centre that's outranged by the 3 mangonels firing upon it. A couple of Jaguars now coming out as well for Flatch. No upgrades on these puppies just yet, but this is what normally happens. in an Aztec War late game. You normally transition to the Jaguars because the Eagles are just so easily countered by them, and it's a really nice move, potentially a little bit of a blind move from Flatch. We'll see. Does he see the barracks? No, he doesn't see any of the barracks at the back of Lawrence's base, but a nice somewhat blind counter, getting a couple of Jaguars out, as they are going to be able to clean up these elite Eagle warriors, assuming that Flatch does actually get some decent upgrades on these puppies, which it doesn't look like are coming in at all. And Lawrence finally now setting his troops to work on these castles that were being such a friggin' nuisance outside the front of his base. Flatch getting one troop out now as well. Lawrence sending in his elite Eagle warriors even. Nice amount of upgrades on these guys here as well. So he is managing to supplement all of his all the necessary parts of his economy that he needs, and sending his Eagles in there to start sniping down the trebs, snipe down those mangonels that were just doing so much friggin' damage to his economy. And now it looks like as he starts taking down these trebs and gets to work on these villages that are repairing the castles from Flatch, Lawrence might actually be in a really nice position here to take down these two castles and regain control of this front area of his map. Of course, that's going to give him a lot of area that he can boom back into, as well as access to his golds and or stones, if he does decide to switch into the Jaguar warriors. I say that elite Eagle warriors have really nice pierce armor and all that sort of stuff, but against this many crossbows under the fire of two castles, under the shadow of two castles, elite Eagle warriors still don't. You know, they're not invincible. They do still have a little bit of a weakness in that respect. And Lawrence really looking to try and get rid of these crossbows if he can. It's a good thing he's keeping the trebuchets up, as their PS armor is 150 as opposed to whatever the hell it is when they are. There you go, as opposed to 8 when they are not. Or when they are packed up. Arbalest and Elite Eagle Warrior coming in for Flatch. And do I see any more barracks coming in for him? Well, he's obviously got a lot of archery ranges, 2 back at home, plus the 1 forward, but I don't see any other barracks apart from this one here. So maybe the Elite Eagle Warrior upgrade is going to be, I don't know, maybe a bit, I wouldn't say superfluous, but it's not going to be as effective as it could be if he does want to go down that route. He's got a crap ton of wood. Just chuck down some barracks, mate. Flood Lawrence's eco with Elite Eagles, because at the moment Lawrence doesn't actually have any eco really to speak of. He's relocated all of his wood economy up to this northern area, which is getting dangerously close to where Flatch could quite easily raid. Although in saying that, it looks like Flatch is maybe too busy watching his villagers run a marathon every time they want to drop off 19 wood. Arbalest already having been done now as well. No other upgrades on these guys, but at the same time, Flatch is in a really demanding position. 95 villages to 51, more military, and his economy is just looking so much better than Lawrence's at the present time. He now has access to all of Lawrence's, more or less all of Lawrence's golds, since Lawrence has depleted this one and done nothing with it. He's only got 1 castle standing in his way here, and Lawrence has really kind of not thrown this. I don't want to say thrown it, because it didn't really seemed like he was in too much of a demanding position at any stage of this game, but he hasn't played this game as effectively as he could, and I think maybe that's come down to the fact that his strategy choice at the beginning was just not quite right. Lawrence now having to sell a few resources here to get gold, and it looks like he wants to throw up a new TC somewhere as well. Yep, there's the new town centre coming up, and can Flatch see this? Oh no, if Flatch may be paying attention, he might be able to see this dead wolf here, but that also could have been from ages ago, or maybe it's just hidden by this mining camp. Not really sure, but at the same time, if we get Bodkin, if we get anything like that, Flatch is going to be able to spot this economy, this new economy of Lawrence. And this is dangerous, man. This is really dangerous from Sir Lawrence. This is not so dangerous from Sir Lawrence. I like this. Potentially the last roll of the dice, and why my hotkeys aren't working to switch players, I don't know. But this could potentially be the last roll of the dice for Lawrence. He's going to be seeing if he can, flood the economy here of Flatch. That's all he can really do at this stage in the game. Just flood his economy with Elite Eagle Warriors. Again, of course, supplemented by all this fish, but again, the fish is running out. I mean, there's more fish over here, and Lawrence does have 1 fishing ship idle over there on the other side of the map, but this fish is going to run out, and Lawrence's economy, well, he's got these farms, and that is pretty much it. He's got a crap ton of wood. He could sow a lot more farms, but it doesn't look like he's going to be going for that at the moment. But here we go, the last roll of the dice. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what Lawrence can actually do. I don't personally think it's going to be enough to be able to turn this game around for him, especially since there are some defensive military production buildings inside of Fletcher's economy. He hasn't invested everything into this forward aggression here, which is going to turn out to be really, really nice for him. But I think Flatch should realize at this point that, hey, Lawrence doesn't look like he's actually anywhere near any of this, and he should be sending out some scouting parties to see what the hell is my opponent actually up to. Siege Workshop coming up now for Sir Lawrence as well, literally right outside Fletcher's economy. And Flatch, I believe, is still completely oblivious to this. He has not scouted it at all. He can see a dead deer. He can see another dead deer there. Surely this would be tipping him off that, hey, maybe Lawrence is doing some funny business out here. Maybe I should go and check that out. And when he does, he's going to see a siege workshop, and he's going to see 4 barracks and a monastery as well. Monastery, good idea for Lawrence. Pick up the relic. That's definitely going to be able to pull this game around for you. We see Jaguar warriors. A few upgrades having been done on them, with more upgrades on the way as well for the defense. But here we go. Now Fletch starts to move out with his villagers, and he can literally see the deer dying in the fog of war. It's a little bit unfortunate for him that he hasn't spotted it, but he's bringing villagers forward. What on earth are these villagers doing? Please just head up here. Please, 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 please. Don't be fooled. You cannot actually tell that these farms have been sown in the fog of war, but he can see, for the love of God, he can see the dead trees there. Come on, Flatch. He's sending out some raiding parties here. Manages to get a nice pick down here to the south of the map for Sir Lawrence, but he sent all these villagers forward, and he's missed all this cavalcade, this multitude of crap that Lawrence has just outside of his base, as he just sends more and more villagers forward, trying to pick off the rest of what he believes to be Lawrence's economy. At this stage, this is going to be the last roll of the dice for Lawrence, definitely. If this doesn't pay off, then, oh my goodness, if this doesn't pay off, then it's definitely all over. I mean, I personally, I don't think it's going to pay off at all. Lawrence just doesn't have the resources to be able to bounce back at this stage as well. It's a tree. Thank you very much for the host, mate. 33 viewers. That is huge. Thank you very much. Welcome all of It's a Tree's viewers to the Australian Open, a wee tournament organised by Robo between Australian and New Zealand Age of Empires players. And this is, I mean, you can read it up the top. Game 2, round 1, best of 5 series between SirLaurenceNZ and Flatch. And at the moment, Flatch wondering why his red counterpart, Sir Lawrence here, is not GGing yet, as it does look pretty much over for him. And here we go. Flatch has now finally spotted all the rest of this economy, the secret economy that Sir Lawrence has. And like I said, these Eagle Warriors, man, they are just fantastic when it comes to soaking up arrow fire, especially when they're fully upgraded, especially when he has this amount of them as Sir Lawrence does. These Arbalists are just going to get chewed up and spat back out. Now Fletcher's going to have to realize, oh crap, he's been up here the whole time. What am I going to do? I'm going to switch my focus over. And he's bringing the Jaguar warriors now as well, and this is what he needs to do, and he's realized and he's recognized the situation, and he's queued up an absolute shit ton of Jaguar warriors. Not elite yet, not fully upgraded yet, don't see any Garland walls, any of those good upgrades as well. And saying that, Lawrence also is missing a few crucial attack upgrades on his elite Eagle warrior bad boys here as well. But here we go. Okay, tell me Fletcher's going to see this cheeky business here from Lawrence. Lawrence is he's going to start chopping the same lumber. Apparently that's what Lawrence wants to do in this situation, as he does manage to clean up this. Oh, he still hasn't cleaned all this up, but he's deciding, hey, I'm just going to leave that for now. I'm going to go and raid Fletcher's economy, see if I can cut it off from the source. And we can see the elite Eagle warriors now steaming into Fletcher's economy from Sir Lawrence. Fletch having quite a few idols, I think. Well, they've both got the same amount of idol villages, and Fletch still has a huger economy compared to his opponent. We saw siege rams coming in for Sir Lawrence as well. This is going to be a really, really nice change of momentum for him potentially, and Fletch needs to deal with this now. He needs to bring literally all of his stuff back to deal with the Eagle warriors inside of his base. If he deals with this this multitude of eagles inside of his base, Lawrence is not going to have anything. He's not going to have anything to come back with. He still does have a crap ton of food and a crap ton of gold, but at the same time he just doesn't have the map control that he needs to be able to pull himself back into this game. Remember, Fletch has control of Fletch has control of these golds here from Lawrence as well, so it's looking pretty dicey for Lawrence, especially when these Jaguar warriors do start to come in and hopefully make the make the tech choice of the Jaguar warriors here worth it. But again, once the Eagle warriors get into your economy, it is just so difficult to get the little buggers out. Siege rams now starting to descend on the town centers, of town center rather, of Fletch here as well. And the one thing that the Eagle warriors have over the Jags is that is that the Eagle Warriors just have that extra bit of speed, and it's starting to get a little bit loud in my ears, so let me just, oh my goodness, this is pretty much all the way down already. Let me just turn this volume down just a little bit, and here we can see the Arbalest from Sir Lawrence. No, hang on, these are Flatches. I was going to say, we can see the Arbalest and the Jaguar Warriors now coming over. For some reason, the colors have now switched. I have no idea why, but we can see the Eagle Warriors now getting in amongst everything that Flatch once held dear and true to him, but he just doesn't have the momentum, he doesn't have the steam, and these Eagle Warriors, not fully upgraded, unupgraded Eagle Warriors, are slowly going to be taken down by the Jaguar Warriors and Arbalests of Flatch. And just like that, it looks like Sir Lawrence's last roll of the dice is starting to peter out here, as he only has a handful of Eagle Warriors left. In saying that, looking at the village accounts, Flatch a minute ago was above 100. No, I don't ever take a pause. Fletcher's village account was above 100 a few minutes ago, and now it is well below that of even Sir Lawrence. And thank you very much, Xaro.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Thank you very much for the follow. I hope you're enjoying this interesting game. I feel like this game should have been closed out a lot longer ago, but Sir Lawrence just clawing his way back in. It's not really indicative of too much, I wouldn't say, but I still feel like Flatch has this. His army composition is just superior, although in saying that, Sir Lawrence now switching into what looks like is going to be Arbalest to try and provide some sort of a counter to these Jaguar Warriors, to these Jaguar Warriors as well. And miss the gym, GG. I could do, but I don't think that would really do too much here, to be honest. So again, Lawrence's, what I thought was Lawrence's last roll of the dice is actually not Lawrence's last roll of the dice at all. He's still keeping a little bit of a pocket of economy down here to the south of the map, although Flatch now recognizes that there is something down here that he needs to deal with, and yeah, we can see crossbow coming in for Lawrence now as well, so it looks like he's going to be wanting to switch in. Yeah, you probably are. It looks like he's going to be wanting to switch into the good morning, streamer. Good morning. It's not morning, but good morning. Lawrence looking to do some sort of a countering play here to these Jaguar Warriors for that Fletch is currently fielding. Of course, Onaga coming in now as well. Not really sure about that decision from Lawrence. I mean, that's a pretty expensive upgrade, and he definitely doesn't have any sort of economy left at all. I mean, these fishing ships are starting to run idle, and he is bringing down his fishing ships into this area in which there are 2 or 3 maybe deep sea fish left that he can actually take from, a small pocket of gold. But now Flatch kind of exemplifying exactly what I'm thinking, and I think a lot of other people are thinking as well, where this game is well and truly over. It's fair enough that you should fight until, you know, the last ditch effort and all that sort of stuff, but it is definitely over for Lawrence. The Arbalest route, sure, it's a good idea, but it's just not enough at this stage in the game where he doesn't have anything else to really bring to the table. And well, there it is. GG, the first game there going to Flatch, our Australian. Oh my goodness, my throat is killing me already. Our Australian player. Well done. Lawrence may be holding on. Fair enough, he thinks that he might have had a chance with fish, but that's all it's really going to do, to be honest.